In a world that constantly seeks validation through titles, positions, and achievements, there's a quiet, powerful truth that we often overlook: who we are matters more than what we do. And yet, we're often conditioned to define ourselves by what we do. We introduce ourselves with our job titles, our accomplishments, our roles, but in doing so, we may miss the opportunity to connect on a deeper level. But what if we shifted our perspective? What if we chose not to lead with what we do, but rather with who we are? What if we allowed others to see the fullness of our humanity first? This shift isn't just about words, it's about embracing vulnerability, taking off the armor that we hide behind, and showing up as our true selves. In our modern world, it's all too easy to get wrapped up in what we do for a living. From a young age, we're conditioned to define ourselves by the roles we play, whether that's a student, an employee, a business owner, or a leader. We are often asked, what do you do as a way of understanding who we are? The question itself suggests that our worth is tied to our job titles, as if the sum of our lives can be captured in a single word or phrase. But the truth is, you are much more than your job title. Your job is just one part of the story of who you are. It's a role that you may play at a given time, but it doesn't encompass the totality of your identity. Our careers are often fleeting. A person can be a CEO one day and a retiree the next. A doctor can be practicing today and exploring new passions tomorrow. The point is that your job title is not permanent. You might even experience changes in your career path over the years, and that's okay. But if you have identified too deeply with that title, what happens when it changes or fades away? You are a complex being made up of dreams, fears, relationships, talents, and experiences that no job can fully define. Your true value lies in your inherent qualities, your kindness, your resilience, your creativity, and your ability to connect with others. These qualities are the essence of who you are and the foundation of your worth. Think about it, your job might give you an income, a sense of purpose, and a place in society, but it doesn't define your capacity for love, your capacity for empathy, or your ability to make the world a better place. When we let our jobs define us, we limit ourselves. We box ourselves into a small, static identity that is based on external validation. We risk ignoring the aspects of ourselves that are much deeper and more meaningful, like our passions, our relationships, and our inner desires. Who you are is about much more than how you spend your working hours. It's about the things that make you come alive, the way you contribute to the world, and how you show up for the people who matter to you. Your worth is not determined by your profession or your accomplishments. No title can capture the depth of your character, the richness of your spirit, or the extent of your potential. If we learn to separate who we are from what we do, we begin to tap into a far more expansive sense of self. We allow ourselves to be free from the constraints of societal labels and titles, and we can embrace the fullness of our humanity. So when you introduce yourself, try not to start with what you do. Instead, begin with what you believe, with what excites you, with the things that matter most to you. Share who you are, your passions, your dreams, your values, because that is the essence of who you are. Your job will always change, but who you are at your core remains constant. And that is what truly matters. It's important to recognize that the roles we play, whether in our jobs or in our families, are temporary, but the person we are is everlasting. By embracing this truth, we free ourselves from the pressure of having to define ourselves by external markers. We begin to see that we are enough just as we are, regardless of the job we hold or the accomplishments we achieve. You are more than your job title, and it's time to start living like it. In our pursuit of success, we often think that perfection is the goal. Society celebrates flawless performances, immaculate resumes, and polished presentations. We are taught to keep our mistakes hidden, to never let anyone see our flaws, and to always appear as if we have everything under control. The pressure to present a perfect image both to the world and ourselves can be overwhelming. It's easy to think that perfection is what will lead us to acceptance, respect, and love. But in reality, it's vulnerability, not perfection, that is the true key to connection, growth, and authentic living. Vulnerability is the willingness to show up, to be seen without the need to hide behind a facade of perfection. It's about having the courage to expose your real self, your flaws, your uncertainties, and your struggles. It's not about showing weakness, but about having the strength to be honest with yourself and others about who you truly are. It is in vulnerability that we allow ourselves to grow, because it's only when we are willing to face our imperfections that we can begin to learn from them. Why do we so often feel the need to hide our vulnerabilities? One reason is that we associate vulnerability with weakness. We think that if we admit we don't have all the answers, or if we reveal our fears and shortcomings, we will be judged, rejected, or perceived as inadequate. But the reality is that vulnerability is actually a powerful strength. It's the space where courage is born. It's where true connection happens. Because when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we invite others to do the same. We give others the permission to stop pretending and to be authentic. When we constantly strive for perfection, we're creating a barrier between ourselves and others. Perfection requires constant effort and maintenance. It demands that we never show our true selves, because perfect means flawless, and flaws make us human. But nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's journey is without bumps and detours. The more we chase perfection, the more we build a mask that hides the most powerful parts of who we are, our humanity, our compassion, our growth, and our ability to learn from mistakes. It's through vulnerability that we experience deep, meaningful connections with others. When you show up as your true self, imperfect, messy, and real, you create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. You stop hiding behind your achievements or your job title, and you start showing the parts of you that matter most: your heart, your dreams, your struggles. It is in this space of shared vulnerability that authentic relationships are formed. Vulnerability also invites growth. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we acknowledge that we don't have it all figured out. We allow room for learning, for mistakes, and for improvement. This is where progress happens, when we step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown, not knowing if we will succeed or fail. But it's in that willingness to try despite the fear of failure that we develop the resilience to move forward. So why choose vulnerability over perfection? Because perfection is an illusion. It's an unattainable goal that sets us up for constant dissatisfaction. Vulnerability, on the other hand, is real. It is raw, messy, and sometimes uncomfortable, but it is also beautiful and transformative. It is the very thing that connects us to others in a meaningful way. It is what allows us to show up as who we truly are without fear of judgment or rejection. In a world that pushes us to be perfect, embrace vulnerability instead. Allow yourself to be seen, even if it means showing your imperfections. Allow yourself to stumble and fall, knowing that each misstep is an opportunity to learn and grow. Remember, your worth is not tied to perfection. It is tied to your ability to be authentic, to be real, and to embrace who you are, flaws and all. When you choose vulnerability over perfection, you stop hiding behind a mask of who you think you should be and start living as the person you already are. You choose courage over fear, connection over isolation, and authenticity over image. In doing so, you free yourself from the impossible burden of perfection and step into a life that is rich, meaningful, and deeply human. Embrace vulnerability, and you will find that it is through this courage that you discover your truest, most powerful self. In a world that constantly measures success by external markers such as job titles, income, or the size of your house, it can be easy to fall into the trap of defining yourself by what you've accomplished. We are taught to seek validation through achievements, to collect trophies of success that prove our worth to the world. But in doing so, we often lose sight of what truly matters: our values. Achievements are fleeting. They come and go, and they are often based on what we can do at a specific moment in time. But values are the deep-rooted beliefs and principles that guide us throughout our lives, shaping the decisions we make, the way we treat others, and the way we view ourselves. Achievements are important, no doubt. They provide a sense of accomplishment and can open doors to new opportunities. But when we place too much emphasis on them, we run the risk of losing ourselves in the pursuit of more, always chasing the next achievement without ever asking whether that achievement is aligned with our deeper values. We begin to let our success define who we are, rather than letting who we are define how we succeed. Values, on the other hand, are the compass that guides us through life. They are the principles that are non-negotiable, the core beliefs that shape our actions, and the motivations that drive us to do what we do. Whether it's integrity, kindness, responsibility, or creativity, your values are the foundation of your identity. They are the essence of who you are and how you interact with the world. When you focus on living according to your values, your life becomes purposeful and intentional, and your achievements become a reflection of who you are rather than just what you've done. One of the most significant challenges we face is the temptation to measure ourselves against others, whether through career milestones, material possessions, or public recognition. It's easy to look around and think that if we could just achieve a little bit more, we would finally be enough. But comparing ourselves to others can lead to a cycle of constant striving, never truly satisfied with what we have, because we are always measuring our progress against someone else's standards. This external measurement of success can be exhausting, and ultimately it distorts the way we view ourselves and our lives. When we shift our focus from achievements to values, we stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward. The question becomes not what have I done, but who am I becoming? When you prioritize your values over your achievements, you create a foundation that is rooted in self-worth, not external recognition. You start making decisions based on what truly aligns with your core beliefs, rather than what looks impressive on paper or what will garner approval from others. Living in alignment with your values doesn't mean you won't achieve success. It means your achievements will be more meaningful because they are a true reflection of who you are. For instance, if one of your core values is creativity, your achievements will be tied to projects and initiatives that allow you to express that creativity, whether it's in your career, your hobbies, or your relationships. These achievements will feel more fulfilling because they are connected to something deeper than just external validation. They are connected to your authentic self. The danger of focusing too much on achievements is that they can easily lead to a sense of emptiness. Once the excitement of reaching a milestone fades, you are left with the question, what next? If your sense of self-worth is tied to accomplishments, there will always be something more to chase, but it won't necessarily bring the lasting satisfaction that comes from living in accordance with your values. When we prioritize achievements over values, we risk losing sight of the things that truly make us happy, fulfilled, and content. Furthermore, focusing on values allows us to remain grounded when things don't go according to plan. Not every achievement will be a success, and failure is an inevitable part of life. But if our values are our guiding force, we are better equipped to handle setbacks with resilience. We are less likely to be shaken by external failures because we know that our true worth is not tied to the outcome of any single event. Instead, it's tied to the principles we live by, the way we handle adversity, and the integrity with which we approach each situation. By focusing on your values, you create a deeper sense of purpose that doesn't depend on external circumstances or achievements. You begin to define your success in terms of personal growth, meaningful relationships, and living a life that reflects the things that matter most to you. Your achievements then become a byproduct of this alignment. They are an expression of who you are rather than the measure of your worth. In a world that constantly emphasizes the importance of competition, it's easy to get caught in the mindset that success is a zero-sum game, that for you to win, someone else must lose. From childhood sports leagues to adult workplaces, competition is woven into the fabric of our society. We are encouraged to outdo others, to be the best, to climb the ladder of success, and to push ourselves harder to surpass the achievements of those around us. While there's nothing inherently wrong with striving for excellence, when we allow competition to dominate our approach to life, we risk losing sight of the value of connection. When we focus solely on competition, we create an environment where individuals are pitted against each other, and the relationship between people becomes transactional. In this mindset, the goal is to outshine others, to prove superiority, and to win at all costs. While this can drive some external achievements, it often leaves a wake of disconnection, isolation, and mistrust. Instead of fostering collaboration and mutual respect, we unintentionally build walls between ourselves and others, believing that our success is contingent on someone else's failure. Connection, on the other hand, is about fostering relationships based on trust, mutual support, and shared values. It is about recognizing that we are all part of a larger interconnected whole and that our success is not defined by defeating others, but by working together to uplift each other. In a connected environment, we celebrate one another's successes and contribute to one another's growth. We see the value in helping others achieve their goals because we understand that our collective success strengthens everyone. When we focus on building connections, we cultivate a sense of belonging, compassion, and shared purpose that goes far beyond the individual accomplishments that competition often highlights. Rather than seeing others as rivals, connection allows us to see them as collaborators. It invites us to appreciate the unique strengths, perspectives, and experiences that each person brings to the table. When we build connections, we recognize that everyone has their own journey and that our individual paths are enriched when we support one another. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a competitor, the goal shifts from beating them to learning from them, growing alongside them, and celebrating their victories as our own. Competition, particularly when taken to the extreme, can create an environment of fear and scarcity. It encourages the belief that there's only so much success to go around, leading us to operate from a place of fear rather than abundance. This fear can manifest in a variety of ways, whether through jealousy, insecurity, or a constant need to prove ourselves. We may feel that we must protect our success by undermining others, or that we must compete aggressively to secure our place. This mindset fosters an unhealthy environment where personal and professional growth are stifled as people become focused on defending their position rather than learning, growing, and evolving together. In contrast, building connection comes from a mindset of abundance where we recognize that there is room for everyone to thrive. Rather than fearing the success of others, we embrace it. We see that when one person rises, it can elevate the collective. In an environment rooted in connection, there is no need to outdo others because we all share in the growth and success of the community. Success is no longer a solitary achievement, it is a collective journey. Connection also encourages vulnerability. When we stop viewing others as competitors, we create a space where it's okay to show our weaknesses, ask for help, and be open about our challenges. In competitive environments, vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something that can be exploited by others. But in connected environments, vulnerability is seen as a strength and opportunity for growth and deeper understanding. By being vulnerable with others, we invite them to do the same, and together we build trust and deepen our relationships. Furthermore, connection fosters a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond personal achievement. While competition often leads to temporary satisfaction, when we win, connection creates lasting joy through meaningful relationships and shared experiences. The satisfaction of helping others, of supporting them in their journeys, and of being a part of something bigger than ourselves far outweighs the fleeting glory of a solo victory. When we shift our focus from competition to connection, we shift our perspective on success. Instead of seeing success as something that can only be earned by surpassing others, we begin to see it as a collective effort, something that is achieved through collaboration, empathy, and mutual respect. We realize that our individual success is intrinsically linked to the success of those around us. In a culture that values certainty, quick solutions, and clear direction, there is often immense pressure to have all the answers. From a young age, we are taught that knowledge is power, and that being able to solve problems, make decisions, and navigate life's complexities with confidence is a sign of success. Whether in the workplace, in relationships, or in personal growth, there is an unspoken expectation that we must always be prepared, always have a solution, and always appear in control. However, the reality is that life is rarely so simple. It's filled with ambiguity, uncertainty, and questions that don't have immediate or obvious answers. Acknowledging that it's okay to not have all the answers is a profound act of self-acceptance. It's a recognition that we are all constantly learning, growing, and evolving. No one has figured it all out. And that's okay. We live in a world that constantly changes, and the problems we face are often complex and multifaceted. The idea that there is always a right answer or a perfect solution is unrealistic. Sometimes the path forward isn't clear, and that's where growth begins. The fear of not having all the answers can paralyze us. We may avoid making decisions, taking risks, or stepping out of our comfort zones because we feel that we must know everything before we act. But in doing so, we miss out on the opportunities that come with exploration, experimentation, and learning. When we allow ourselves to admit that we don't have all the answers, we open up space for curiosity, creativity, and discovery. It becomes possible to approach life with a sense of wonder rather than pressure. We can ask questions, seek out new perspectives, and find our way through the uncertainty rather than trying to force a solution. Not having all the answers doesn't make you weak or incapable. In fact, it takes strength to admit that we don't know everything. It takes humility to acknowledge that we don't have all the solutions to every problem we face. This vulnerability can be a source of empowerment. By embracing the unknown, we make room for growth, for new insights, and for deeper understanding. We allow ourselves to be learners instead of pretending to be experts. Moreover, not having all the answers invites us to rely on others. It encourages collaboration, dialogue, and the sharing of ideas. When we accept that we don't have all the answers, we recognize that we are part of a larger network of people, each with their own experiences, wisdom, and perspectives. By seeking input, advice, and guidance from others, we not only enrich our own understanding, but we also strengthen our relationships. It is in these moments of shared vulnerability and collective wisdom that true connection happens. Asking for help or showing that we don't know everything allows others to feel valued, trusted, and respected. In the professional world, this mindset is often counterintuitive. We are taught that leadership means having all the answers, that a leader must always project confidence and certainty. But great leaders know that they don't have all the answers. They know how to ask the right questions, listen deeply, and bring others into the process of problem solving. They understand that leadership is not about being infallible, it's about guiding a team through challenges and empowering others to contribute their knowledge and expertise. By admitting that we don't have all the answers, we demonstrate a level of trust and openness that can inspire those around us to do the same. This vulnerability can lead to stronger teams, better ideas, and more effective problem solving. In our personal lives, the pressure to have all the answers can lead to a sense of inadequacy and self-doubt. We may feel that we must have it all figured out: our careers, our relationships, our health, our goals, when in reality, life is a series of unfolding chapters, each with its own uncertainties and challenges. It's okay to not know exactly where you're going or how you'll get there. It's okay to not have a perfect roadmap. The beauty of life lies in the journey itself, in the exploration and the learning that happens along the way. Embracing the idea that we don't have all the answers frees us from the burden of perfectionism. It allows us to take risks, to make mistakes, and to grow from them. Instead of fearing failure or missteps, we can approach life with a sense of curiosity and resilience. We can embrace the discomfort that comes with not knowing and trust that we will find our way forward step by step. It is often through these moments of uncertainty that we learn the most about ourselves and the world around us. Not having all the answers also allows us to be more compassionate with ourselves. We live in a society that often rewards certainty and decisiveness, but it's important to remember that it's okay to be in a state of not knowing. It's okay to take time to process, to reflect, and to figure things out at your own pace. We don't need to have everything figured out right now, and we don't need to have all the answers to be valuable or worthy. The process of seeking, exploring, and questioning is what makes us human, and it's through this journey of discovery that we become wiser, more self-aware, and more open to the possibilities of life.